In this video, we're going to take a look at how to use VLOOKUP in Microsoft Excel, and we're going to see two examples in this video. We're going to see how to use VLOOKUP to look up a customer name based upon their customer number, and we're also going to see how to use VLOOKUP to look up a student's letter grade based upon their percentage grade. But there's something important that you need to know about VLOOKUP is that if you are using a newer version of Excel, so anything newer than 2019, then you have a new and better function, XLOOKUP. So XLOOKUP is better than VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP's the old way to do it, XLOOKUP's the new way to do it. And if you want to check out how to use the new function, there's a link in the description below where you could click it and it'll take you to the video to show you how to use XLOOKUP. But right now in this video, in case you're using an older version of Microsoft Excel, or if you just want to know how to use VLOOKUP because you like doing it old school, we're going to see in this video how to use VLOOKUP. Let's go do it. So here I am in Microsoft Excel, and the first thing that you should do when you're working with VLOOKUP is you should go into the documentation, and you should have the documentation handy so you could reference it and make sure that you're using VLOOKUP correctly. And so to get into the documentation, you go to the Help ribbon, and then here in the Help ribbon, you click on this Help icon, and that's going to take you into the documentation. When this comes up, you could search for VLOOKUP and press Enter. And it will show you a couple of examples right here, but then you have this option down beneath it where it says VLOOKUP function. And if you click on that, it takes you into the documentation for the VLOOKUP function. There's something important to look at in here, which is why we brought it up. But the first thing it shows you right at the top is that there is a new and better function called the XLOOKUP function. And you could click on that to read about it. So if you do that, it'll bring you to this note, which says you need a version of Excel which is newer than Excel 2019. And you know, if you have that, great, use XLOOKUP. If you don't, then it's back to VLOOKUP for us. So I'm going to click on this back arrow right there to get back to VLOOKUP. And the important thing you want to look at in this documentation is down here under technical details. And if you click on that, it brings up the syntax for VLOOKUP right there, where it shows you the function and then all the things that you enter to make the function work. And each of these items here is described down here, right? So when you're putting in your function, you could reference this to see what you're entering and what you need to enter. I find that that's useful unless you're using VLOOKUP all the time. It's useful to have this over here to reference it. So with that all ready to go, let's go ahead and start entering our VLOOKUP function. So I'm going to do the equal sign, VLOOKUP, and then press Tab to get it going. And the first thing here, you can see in bold, the first argument it's asking me for is the lookup value. If I need to read about that, I could see right over here what the lookup value is, but that is going to be my lookup value right there. It's the customer ID here. And I'm going to look that up from this master table of all my customers with their IDs right there. So I'm going to press a comma, and the next thing it's looking for is the table array. And if you look over in the table array, it tells you the first column in the cell range must contain the lookup value. So the lookup value is 9, and it's the customer ID, and this first column here contains the customer ID. So this is something about VLOOKUP which was tricky for some people, right? You have to have your lookup table sorted in looking a certain way, built in a certain way. And so here's my table. I do have that first column being the lookup value, and then I also want to grab that because I want to be able to return these values. And so when I select all that, that's my table array that I'm going to be looking things up in. I'm going to press F4 to make that absolute and hold it constant, and then hit a comma. And the next thing it's asking me for is the column index number. And so the column number that contains the return value. And this first is column 1. That first column is column 1. And so this is going to be column 2. That's what I want returned. So I'm going to press 2. And then the next thing it wants is the range lookup, right? And so if I want an approximate match, I could enter true. If I want an exact match, I can enter false. And since I'm looking up a customer ID here, and there's my customer ID over there, if it's 9, I want it to be 9. I want it to be exact. So I'm going to enter false to make that exact, which isn't totally intuitive, right? It seems like false, make it exact. I don't know, it doesn't seem totally intuitive to me. So I'm gonna press Enter, and customer 9 should give me Rodriguez, which it does. And then if I copy this formula, Control C, and paste it here, 7 should give me Miller. So when I paste it there, I get Miller. And if I copy this formula all the way down and paste it over all of that, I get all of the exact matches. So that's the first example of using VLOOKUP. For our next example, we're gonna do the gradebook. So if I have these grades right there, and then I have this table right here, I want to be able to return the letter grade. And to do that, we're going to do an approximate match. So the previous example we did an exact match, but now we're going to do an approximate match. And if you look at this documentation right here, it tells you that the table must be sorted numerically or alphabetically. It doesn't really give you all of the details there. And sometimes I still, if I haven't used VLOOKUP in a while, I have to experiment. Is it going in ascending or descending order? The answer is it needs to be in ascending order, because then it looks back to the lower value if it goes past. And what that means is if I'm looking up 74%, it's going to come over here and look for an approximate match. It'll go past 70, but it won't get to 80, so then it'll go back to 70. And that's just the way it works. It's not explained all that great in the documentation, but that's the way it works. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to do the equal sign, VLOOKUP, and then parentheses, and I'm going to look up that value, comma, and I'm going to look it up from this table, make that F4 to make it absolute. And then I'm going to have a column index number of 2 because I want to return the second column here. And then my lookup range, range lookup, I'm going to have that be true because I want an approximate match, right? And then I'm going to press enter. It gave me an A. Hey, it worked. This should give me a C. That should give me an A. That should give me a C. That should give me like what? That's an F. This is going to be a D, right? So it's just falling back to the previous value if it doesn't make it up to the higher value. And we can see that all of those are correct. And I was just copying and pasting to get that in there. So that is how you use VLOOKUP. If you want to download the workbook that you saw me use in this video, you could do so by a link down in the description down below. The next video I'm going to make for this YouTube channel is going to be about the if function, and we're learning all these different skills so we can build a random data generator. So if you want to check all that out, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell so you'll be notified when that next video comes out, and that'll help you grow your Excel skills and also your tech skills. In addition, if there's something you want to learn in particular about tech or Excel or any of that, leave it in a comment down below and I'll take a look at those and make videos to help you learn what you want to learn about technology. Seems like there was something else I wanted to say to you. Hit that like button and I'll see you next time.